Welcome to week 5. We are now over halfway through the course. This week we are going to be taking a closer look at the communication knowledge area. I have included a link to a digital copy of the PMBOK 6. As you'll remember, the PMBOK is a guide that is published by the Project Management Institute that provides standards for project management processes, best practices, and guidelines. I'm already signed in, but you will be asked for your Ferris user ID and password to sign in. You'll be reading Chapter 10 this week, Project Communication Management. I would like you to read all of Chapter 10, but there are a few areas I would like you to focus on. First, I think the introduction portion of the chapter provides some good information. It begins by telling you that there are two parts of the communication management processes. The first involves developing a communication strategy for your project. This strategy will include things such as what are the stakeholder communication requirements, what information is to be communicated, along with how will it be communicated and when should it be communicated. Also, who is responsible for these communications? How will confidential data be handled? What are the project resource allocations for communication, specifically time and budget resources? All of these strategy topics should be discussed and decided on early in the project lifecycle. The second part of the communication management processes involve actually carrying out the activities to implement that strategy. That strategy is laid out in the communication management plan and needs to be put into action. The chapter then continues to provide information that will help project teams effectively communicate. Be sure to look at the 5 C's of written communication, as well as the communication skills that are pointed out. We've already taken a look at active listening, but there's also awareness of cultural and personal differences, as well as identifying and managing stakeholder expectations. I think the trends and emerging practices in project communication is also a very interesting section. We have talked about that technology and global projects have created different situations and circumstances for projects in the last 10 years. And some of these ideas that the PMBOK points out addresses those situations. For example, one of them is the use of social computing and effectively using social media and other computing technologies to better your projects. One other area that I would like to highlight identifies factors that should be considered as you determine what type of communication mode is best to deliver the information in different situations. Is the information best conveyed face-to-face, or is it okay to send it through an email? Or should you put project information on the project social media platforms, or should it be delivered in a project team meeting? For these types of decisions, it's important to consider things such as the urgency of the information, the availability and reliability of the technology being used. Does everybody have access to it? The ease of use of the technology in itself. What is the project environment? And is it sensitive or confidential information, and how should that be protected? As I said, I would like you to read the whole chapter, but I have identified a few areas that I would like you to be particularly pay attention to. I have also included a few articles regarding giving client presentations. Presentations are a significant tool that project managers can use to communicate project information. One of the articles makes the following statement. You have to address a massive amount of information in a short period of time in a high-pressured situation. Therefore, it's important to know how to best deliver the information. The articles provide tips and techniques to help you improve your presentation content and delivery. There's also an article that addresses how to overcome noise in your communication. As you will see in the PMBOK this week, Noise in the communication models hinders the transfer of information from the sender to the receiver or from the receiver back to the sender. You will learn about two types of noise this week, psychological and semantic noise, and then steps to reduce or eliminate these types of noise in your project communication. The final article is a repeat read from week 1. I have included it again because it correlates well to the chapter you read in the PMBOK. I think after reading the communication chapter and then rereading this article, you will have a better understanding of these topics. There's also a section in this article that outlines how to calculate the number of communication channels for your project team. You will need to refer to this as you participate in this week's discussion with your classmates. I would like you to discuss the communication challenge that a project team may face as the project team grows in size. In theory, the larger a project team, the more resources you have to accomplish the project goals. However, you also need to consider the increased number of challenges in the communication that can occur as you grow your project team and how these will affect the overall project success. For this week's assignment, you will have the opportunity to apply some of the tips and techniques of giving a good presentation that you read about earlier. You will be given a presentation for the service project you created in week 2. It will be a very abbreviated version of the project presentation you would deliver at the project kickoff meeting. The main goal of this presentation is to create excitement and buy-in for the project from those attending the meeting. You should start with the presentation you created for assignment 2, making any changes I suggested in the assignment feedback or any other changes you wish to make. The presentation does not have to include a video of you giving the presentation, but can be a screen capture of your PowerPoint or similar presentation with a voiceover. The presentation should be around the 5-minute mark. Please take a look at the rubric for my grading expectations. Additionally, you will be reviewing and evaluating 2 of your classmates' presentations. I will email you the presentations to evaluate on Tuesday, October 1st, and they will be due back to me on October 3rd. Again, you will be finishing out the week with a quiz on this week's material. I hope you have a great week, and be sure to reach out to me with any questions you have.